guys, welcome back to another one of my videos. For those of you guys that don't know me, hi, my name is Tanya and welcome to Honey Stories. For today's video, I'm going to be talking about what's been going on with me lately and why I haven't been able to post, and just those of you guys that follow me on Snapchat, like, I guess no, sort of, but well, the ones that ask, and thank you for those of you guys that have been asking, am I okay, and just checking in on me like on a day-to-day basis. I'm okay now, I'm stable, I'm fine now. I'm doing the video for you guys. I've been meaning to do this video for about 2 weeks now, but something always ends up happening. But yeah, hopefully the camera's not crooked. I was just going based off the lines in the background, but so yeah. And by the way, I did cut my hair. It was about damn time I cut the tips of my hair Tuesday. I was just straightening it, and then I was like noticing when I went like this, this side was way shorter than this side, so then I just cut it all the same length. But yeah, let's get started with this video. I hope this isn't a very long video. I'm gonna try to just get straight to like the point and just explain what's been going on. No, I'm not pregnant. I get a lot of people asking because on my Snapchat, I post how like I'm not smoking anymore and stuff like that, and everyone's like, oh, are you pregnant, what's going on? But no, I'm not pregnant. Let me just start from the beginning. This is sort of a story time, and you know, just what's been going on with me for the past month and a half. So this all started January, the end of January. It was just a regular day. I had a doctor's appointment in the morning, and it was for just like a few things. For those of you guys that know or don't know, I suffer from fucking allergies all day every day. I have allergies like a motherfucker. Like I'll be sneezing, coughing, fucking my nose just stuffed up like all the time. There's sometimes where I don't have anything, but like the majority of the day, like I have allergies. So so I decided to go to the doctor to, like, you know, ask her like if I can see like an allergist or like something like that, or some type of like medication that she can prescribe to me, because like I tried over-the-counter stuff and they seem to like do the job a little bit, but like I'm still dying. Like I need something that's gonna work at least like 80%. You feel me? Because like it sucks having to be sick all the time. It's like having a cold 24/7, and I fucking hate it. So I went to the doctor for that, and then I went to the doctor because I had like this back pain, and like my throat was just itchy. I was just like all fucked up, but I guess that was mainly just allergies and stuff. I usually just go to like a little clinic. I don't go to like a full-blown out like hospital. So I went to my clinic, and yeah, I met up with like my usual doctor, but like I haven't seen her in a while. And so I went, and she was just like brushing everything off like it wasn't anything. For my back pain, she was just like, oh, everyone gets back pain. I'm gonna prescribe you some ibuprofen. And I'm like, if my back pain is to the point where like I feel like I want to go to the hospital, like it shouldn't just be like, oh, like whatever, you know, because me, I'm pretty tough. Like I don't just fucking just go to the hospital or to the doctor for just any little motherfucking thing. So like I've been complaining about a back pain in the middle of my back, like towards the right side, and she was just like, oh, try doing exercise, you are a little bit overweight for your height. So I recommend just doing exercise and taking the ibuprofen. And so I was like, okay. And then like I was just telling her about like my allergies, and she's like, everyone gets allergies. There's not going to be something that's going to take away your allergies, so just try something over the counter and just be consistent with it. And I'm like, lady, why the fuck did I come here then? Like it was just so frustrating. And then she just kept mentioning how like I was overweight, and I had told her that like my appetite had changed. I wasn't eating that much, like it just changed drastically. And she was just like, oh well, that's okay, people are fasting nowadays, you have to lose weight anyways. I'm like, bitch, no you did not. Like, I'm trying to eat. I don't want to be like this. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm not hungry, like, you know, I want to eat. Fuck you mean. It just bugged me a lot for the fact that like she just kept brushing everything off. Don't mind the dog barking in the background. My neighbor's dog is like hella loud. But yeah, point is, she had mentioned the HPV vaccine, and to also do like blood test, to do a blood test for like STDs and stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, cool. And then the HPV vaccine, I didn't know that I had took it already when I was younger, so I was like, yeah, let's get that done too. And so they did that. They did the first, I guess like it's like 3 shots or some shit, 2-3 shots. So they did the first shot, and then they drew blood. And mind you, like I didn't eat anything, and this was like early in the morning when I got all of this done. I had just a bunch of other stuff to do throughout the day, but I did eat. I did, you know, drink water. And yeah, it was just a regular day. Let me fast forward to the nighttime. That night, like around 11, or yeah, like around 11, me and my boyfriend, we were, you know, cruising, you know, smoking the usual. And we pull up like to a gas station, and all of a sudden I got this like very worried feeling. Like I was very like worried for my boyfriend. Like I felt like he was gonna die or something. And it's not the weed that was making me think this, because I smoke on a daily, you know what I'm saying? I'm not about to tweak on some fucking weed. So like I was just very scared for him. And so I just kept looking at him, and then and I think I even told him, I forgot, but the point is, he gets down and he's like pumping gas, and I'm like looking at him the whole entire time while he's pumping gas, because I was just like so scared. Like it was just the overwhelming feeling of like scared. Like I was just scared and worried. I can't explain it. I've never felt this like worried feeling before, and it was so overwhelming. And so so all of a sudden I'm like looking at him, and then all of a sudden from like this side, from the street side, a loud car passes by, and it like startled me. So I looked to the right, and it was like this car, and they were on dirt. Like you could just tell there was like gangbangers and stuff like that. So I was like, ugh. And they turned right into a street. So I was like, okay, whatever. And I looked towards my boyfriend again, and I was just looking at him, and then I look front, and then out of nowhere the car that startled me was like in front of my face. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, and that even scared me more, because I was already worried. And like my boyfriend, he doesn't gangbang or nothing like that, but like, you know, he does come off like looking like a gangbanger or whatever, but he's not, you know, he's like not on that like whatsoever. So it's hard, like, you know, being with him and like going to places, and like people are always like thinking he's a gangbanger. It sucks. But yeah, so the car was there, and then of course it was full with like all these gangbangers, and they were just looking at him, and like I think they even said something, and they just like circled around, and then they dipped. And then like he got back in the car, and I was like, oh my god. Like, and then that's when I told him, I was like, I was so worried. Like I thought you were gonna die. I literally played your death in my fucking head. And And so after that, like the worriedness that I felt for him went on to me. So I felt scared for my life. I felt scared, you know, like I felt like I was not safe. And then within minutes of feeling that way, it was about to hit 12, and all of a sudden, like I just get like really cold, like a chill throughout my whole body. And I was just like very cold, and I was like turning up the heater, and like nothing was working. And then out of nowhere, like my right thigh muscle just starts spazzing. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, look, I grabbed my boyfriend's hand, and I'm like, look babe, I'm like, my shit's like spazzing inside, like, do you feel it? And he's like, yeah, what the fuck is that? And then like it was something slight, and then it went from something slight to like like shaking, like hardcore. Like my whole leg just started shaking. And then from my right leg it went on to my left leg, and then both of my legs were shaking uncontrollably. I could not control, you know, my legs. And then my wrists started shaking, and they were just like this, like that. And then like my chest felt like tight, and like I couldn't breathe. And then like within minutes all this stuff started escalating. And then my left eye got like glazed over, and I could like barely see out of my left eye. And then and I thought I was gonna die. Like I for real thought I was gonna fucking die, because I couldn't breathe. And like when I was breathing, it started like I was like breathing slower and slower and slower, and I was like, oh my god, I'm dying. And I looked at my boyfriend, and I was like, I love you. Like it's funny now. It's not even funny now, but like fuck man, like I just can't explain the feeling that I felt. And this whole time I was in the truck, I was in the passenger seat, and we were far from like a hospital. So yeah, I just felt like to the point where I couldn't, like I was very scared. So I told him, I was like, hey, I think we need to go to the hospital. I don't feel good. And it was very hard for me to talk as well. I couldn't really talk either. And he was really scared too. He was just like feeling my heart, and then he's like, oh my god, your heartbeat is like pounding, like. And I felt it. I felt like my heart was gonna rip out of my chest. It was like pounding so hard. And like, so it was 12. By the time we got to the hospital, it was like 1 in the morning. But like the symptoms started kind of like simmering down. Like, so I was feeling all of that for a whole hour and a half. But like it would like kick back up for like 15 minutes, and then simmer down for like a minute, and then go back up for like 10 minutes, and then go back down. And it was just doing that the whole hour and 30 minutes. And I didn't even end up going in the hospital, and I regret it so much. But yeah, I didn't end up going into the hospital. I ended up telling him to park next to the hospital in case if like an emergency where I felt like I was for real gonna die. Because in the beginning I felt like I was gonna die, but then when we reached the hospital I was like kind of feeling better and stuff. So I was just like, let's just stay here, you know, because like hospital visits are fucking expensive, and it sucks that we have to fucking pay money, you know, pay money to see what the fuck is wrong with us. And yeah, it's not fucking right. But yeah, I'm not the richest girl in the world, so I was just like, no, like hospital visits, like they're gonna charge me an arm and a leg, like I'm straight. But like before we parked up, my mom drives a minivan or whatever, and like when we circled by the hospital area, I seen a van that looked like her van. And like I was kind of out of it, so I was like, I'm like, is my mom there? Like what is my mom doing in the hospital? And I was just so confused. I was like, what is she doing here? What is she doing here? And then so I kind of just like left that alone, and we parked up. And then the next day we ended up going home. and then the next day I woke up and my left eye was like bloodshot red and it was puffy, and I was still like kind of like shaky inside, and like just my chest was kind of like hurting, and but nothing like too bad. And I called my clinic and I just like updated them on what was going on, and they of course suggested that I go to the hospital, but I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I just rather wait it out and see, my stupid ass. So that happened, and then the morning found out that my mom was actually in the hospital, and like I don't know her plate numbers or anything like that, and it was just a van that looked like her van, and I don't know why I was thought that she was in the hospital. So it was crazy. It felt like I was like some psychic type of shit going, like it was just some psychic ass shit going on that night. And yeah, so after that, I felt fine. I was just very like tired, like for like a couple days, just like very fatigued and stuff like that, but nothing like too serious. And then I went again to speak to another doctor in the clinic. I scheduled another appointment, and then this doctor was another idiot, and he just said that I had anxiety, and it was an anxiety attack. But he said that those are very rare, they're not common, and yeah, he just kept saying that he thinks it was anxiety, but he just wanted to leave it like that. He didn't want to do any tests and nothing further. He didn't prescribe me any medication. And then the nurse that I saw before he walked in, she had wrote on there to like, I guess, give me a referral to see an allergist because I had so much allergies. And he didn't even like say anything about like my allergies either. So basically I went and paid for nothing again. And so I went outside and I was just crying because I was so frustrated, because I wanted to know, exactly what was going on with me. And so I was just like crying, and I was like, you know what, fuck this shit. I went inside and I demanded a referral to see a neurologist. And after that, he gave me a referral, and I felt a little bit better because I was going to see a specialist. So yeah, the rest of the days I was fine, and then exactly a week after that whole thing happened, I ended up getting another attack. I just call them like attacks because I don't know exactly what it is. He's saying that it's anxiety, but then I'm not like worried about something constantly. I'm not like, of course I'm stressing about stuff, but like I feel like everyone stresses about like the stuff that I stress about, just like money and just like like relationships sometimes, like just like the normal stuff that like I guess you kind of like think about or whatever. It's not nothing too excessive. I don't even know what anxiety is. I don't even, what I'm saying, like I never had a doctor say that I had anxiety or like anything like that. So like when this happened to me again, I was just like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, I can't be going through this shit. I can't. And like when I was younger, from like when I was 1 till like about first, second grade, I would get like these seizures, and like they weren't like full blown out like seizures. They were more like I would kind of like lose consciousness, and I would like do weird things, and I would like chant, and then like I would like pee myself, and yeah, but they weren't like the full blown out seizures. So yeah, and like, but I grew out of it, or that's what I thought, and so I had got another one. I got another attack, and same thing. I got a chill all over my body, except the only thing was that I did not feel scared in the beginning. I didn't feel like worried or anything. It just happened out of the blue. And of course we were driving again, and I was like high as shit again. And so So I was like, we need to go to the hospital. No, you know what, we didn't go to the hospital that time because like I knew that I wasn't going to die. So I just kind of like held my shit together till it just went away, till it passed. And then so I would just like, I just called my my clinic and like I updated them on what was going on. And then you know, of course I was like tired for like a couple days after. And this time my eye was fine though, like nothing happened to my eye or anything. But yeah, everything else was the same. Like I was shaking my legs, my wrists, my chest. My chest was tight, like everything. And then and then so I just, you know, went about the days. You know, I was just like trying to hold on until, you know, my neurologist appointment. And so yeah, but before my appointment, I ended up getting another attack a week later. So this is like week to week that I'm just getting like these weird attacks, and they last me for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And I'm just like, I'm conscious throughout the whole thing. I'm kind of like out of it, but I know what the fuck is going on. So I'm just like suffering for like 2 hours. And yeah, so like it happened again, and I was like, you know what, let's go to the hospital. And so we went to the nearest hospital. It was like the Swedish Covenant, whatever the fuck it's called, on Foster and shit. And they basically, I guess, thought it was an anxiety attack. And so they had me in the waiting room, waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And it was around the same time. It's happened like around 12, and it was already like, we got to the hospital like at 1 or so. And I was still having like my symptoms. And but yeah, I was just in the waiting room, just like there with all my symptoms and shit. And it reached to about 5:30 in the morning, and I was just like fucking fighting my sleep by that time, because all my symptoms had went away by that time, and I was just tired as fuck. So I was like, you know what, I told my boyfriend, I was like, let's go, you know, my symptoms went away, you know, I'm fine. So we went home. And then the next week comes along, and then it happens again. It's just been happening every week. It would happen mainly on the weekends. In the beginning, it was just strictly weekends, and it was at a certain time. And like, so yeah, I was just like, what the fuck? So I had stopped smoking because 3 weeks ago, my chest felt very tight, like a tight feeling, like when I was getting like the weird attacks. But like my chest was feeling tight 24/7. It was just very like a discomfort feeling in my chest. Like at first it started like here in the center of my chest, and then a week went by and it kind of shifted more like to my left side of my chest. And it just makes it hard for me to do like stuff that's like gonna get my heart, you know, pumping. Like I can't really do much. I can't really walk fast. Like I can't really, you know, or then like it hurts even more. Or like it's tight, it gets tighter. It didn't hurt, it just felt tight. So then so I was like, you know what, I had started noticing that, like I was just like, okay, wait, every single time I'm getting these attacks, I'm high as fuck, you know what I'm saying? So I stopped smoking, because I'm like, maybe my chest feels tight because of my asthma, and maybe like these attacks like I feel like all the symptoms that I'm feeling have something to do with like me smoking. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stop smoking and inhaling the smoke, right? So I did that, and but my chest was still feeling tight. And so I was like, what the fuck? And yeah, like, so then after I did that, this past Friday, I forgot what date, let me check what date it was. the 28th, on Friday. I was with my friend, and like we were just like watching a movie, and I was eating hot chips, and all of a sudden like I got a discomforting feeling, and I just didn't feel like at ease. So I stopped eating chips, and then I laid down, and then I ended up like getting really cold again. Like my whole chill went over my body, so I tried covering myself, and like that wasn't working. So then so yeah, I started shaking again, and this shaking that I felt was worse. I was shaking way more than I usually shook. A part of me wanted to like kind of like black out, but I was trying so hard to fight it, and I was just like looking around the room, and I was just like trying to like focus on something to just try and distract my mind from what was going on. And like this time it wasn't like, oh, 10 minutes, it was up there and then it kind of simmered down. No, it was like the full like time I was shaking like harder than ever. And eventually it passed. Thankfully it passed. When it passed, I still was getting like aftershakes, and then I had to pee a lot. I used the bathroom like 6 times back to back to back, and I was just like, what the fuck? And it was like full bladder like type shit. And after I used the bathroom, I started feeling like my chest was like hurting so bad. Like it was so delicate in this area. I couldn't really use like my chest muscles. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go to sleep. So I just slept it out. In the morning I was like so out of it and just tired. And yeah, but this happened actually after my neurologist appointment. Let me rewind and just let you know how that went. So the day came when I saw my neurologist, and I just told them everything that was going on. Like I wrote down every single time that I had these attacks or whatever. I wrote down every single symptom. I even wrote down like how I felt the day after. And he was just like, stop right there. He's like, I'm not trying to scare you, but what you're having are seizures. So I'm like, okay, but like why? Like why out in like nowhere, out of the blue, you know? He's like, well, that I'm not sure, you know, I want to run some tests on you. So I want to do like an MRI and the EEG, you know, to see exactly why and like what's going on. And then he was just asking me about like my family history, and epilepsy does run in my family. And I also, you know, experienced it when I was a baby. So he thinks that there's something still in my brain from when I was little that like was all of a sudden like triggered. And so now like I'm having these attacks again. So I mean, it sounds right what he's saying. He was very helpful, not like the other stupid ass doctors. He just made me feel like very important, and like what I was going through was, you know, was important. And I appreciate that. Because yeah, I spoke to so many stupid ass doctors about what I was going through, and they just like brushed everything off. But yeah, that's what he thinks it is. He said my chest tightness, he doesn't know what that is. And I told him about, you know, asthma and stuff, because I asked him, I was like, I had stopped smoking. Is it okay if I continue smoking? And he said, yeah, that's fine. Like, you know, you can go ahead and smoke, because, you know, smoking marijuana actually helps seizures. So I was like, okay, then that's cool. So I was like, okay, then I'll just do that. And but then I was telling him about like asthma and stuff like that, and he's like, maybe you smoking is causing like your chest to feel tight. And I was like, okay, that makes sense too. So I was like, you know, I'm done smoking, I'm just gonna do like edibles or whatever, right? And yeah, so you know, that was over with, that appointment. So at least I had a little bit more clarity. And so I'm like, okay, so there's some type of seizures. I know that. And yeah, so then the day after, actually, that Friday that I was telling you about, that's when I had the other attack that was way worse. And then they were happening like every week, in like nothing in between, until this past Tuesday. It was the March 3rd. That's when I had wrote on my Snapchat that this video was going to be delayed once again. Tuesday night, how I'm not smoking or whatever. I had stopped smoking, so my sister made me a brownie. And so I decided to eat the whole brownie, like it was like 9:40, like close to 10. And I've ate like, you know, a whole edible before. I know that it gets you even higher, and you know, stuff like that. So I knew what the fuck I was getting myself into. I just wanted to feel high. Like, I was not smoking. I was like smoking on and off, so it was just like very frustrating. I just wanted to smoke. And so I was just so happy to eat the edible. And so I ate it. And like my boyfriend came over and we were just chilling, watching, you know, movies. We had a pizza. And then like 11:11, I remember, because like for some reason my eyes just like went towards like my phone. You know what? Lies. My phone lit up at 11:11. I had no notifications. And for some reason I've been seeing this number a lot. I've been seeing either 111 or 11:11. I don't know why. I mean, I googled it and stuff like that, but that's another story. But my phone lit up at 11:11, and then I remember like my thigh had twitched one time. It was just one time, and I was like, fuck, like I hope I don't get one. But I wasn't like overthinking it. I was just like whatever, and I was trying to, you know, distract myself with the TV. And then this was around, yeah, it was around still like 11, before 12 o'clock hit. And and then all of a sudden, like I felt like a weird pain on my butt. Like I felt a weird pain on my butt cheek, like on my right butt cheek. And then so I kind of like fixed myself how I was like on the bed, and I just like laid down. And then once I laid down, I started getting all the symptoms again. I was very cold, and my boyfriend just looked at me and he's like, it's happening again? And I'm like, yeah, it's happening again. And but this one was something else. Like, I'm over here high as fuck, and I'm like laying down, and like I knew it was going to pass, but like I just felt very weird this time. Like I didn't feel like I was getting enough oxygen. This time I felt like I was going to die again, like the first time. And like I was laying down, and like when I was breathing, like I was just breathing slower and slower and not getting enough air. And so I was trying to take like deeper breaths in, and it was just so hard for me. And like at one point I was like looking at my hands, and they looked so like a different color. Like they were like just very pale, and I was sweating. I had like cold sweats, and I just felt like I was like losing consciousness, and like I felt like I was gonna faint or something. And so I was literally like on the bed, and I was just like oh, like I felt like I was gonna like just like stop breathing. And so I looked at him and I was like, you need to call an ambulance, because it's not going away. It was been a few minutes already, and it just wasn't stopping. So he's like freaking out, and he went to go get my mom. No, before he went to go get my mom, I told him to give me the inhaler, my inhaler. And so I took 2 puffs, and I felt better. I got up, and I was just like, oh my god. And then I looked at him and I was just started crying because I was just so tired and just like frustrated with everything that's just been going on. And and he looked at me, he was just shaking his head, and then like literally like within seconds of like all that, of like me getting up and crying and stuff, like it happened, everything started like happening again, and I was just like shaking again. And but this time like I really felt like out of it, like I can't explain like how I felt. I just felt like, you know what, I can't explain it. I felt like, you know how when you see those videos of how like when people get out of the anesthesia, how they feel all groggy and stuff like that? That's exactly how I felt. I was just like I was just like, oh, like I couldn't keep my eyes like open, and I was just very like, ooh, like woozy and just like and yeah, like just very confused. And but I could breathe again after I pumped my inhaler, so I don't know what the fuck that was about. But but yeah, I was still very pale. They ended up calling the ambulance, and they got here and I was still shaking. And so they took me in the ambulance and they were just asking me all these questions, and they were like basically blaming the weed brownie, and like they were asking me they were asking me if I had did any other drug or if I do any other drugs. And I was just like, no. I remember telling my mom, I was like, no, like the only thing I do is like weed. I smoke weed like regularly, and you know, that's about it. Like the only other medication that I take is like my inhaler, and that's it. And I don't know if they believe me or not, but honestly I don't care. But they were asking me that because there would be moments where I would just get this fucking adrenaline rush, like my eyes would just be wide open, and like it would feel like I was like wired or some shit. I never did coke, but like it felt like I did. At some moments I would just like be like up, and I would be like, holy shit, and then it would kind of die down, and then it would happen again where I would just get this fucking like fucking weird adrenaline rush and shit. And they were just asking me like questions in the ambulance, and it got to the point where I just couldn't answer them. Like I couldn't talk, and when I could talk, I would like stop talking, and then I would lose my train of thought, and then I'll be like, wait, what? I'm so confused. I would tell them, I'm like, I'm so confused right now. And and yeah, so I just stopped talking, and then like my symptoms weren't going away, so they just like rushed me to the hospital. And in the hospital, they were like yelling at my mom because my mom kept calling it a seizure, and they were like, no, that's not a seizure, those are tremors, like that's like a tremor attack or whatever. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so like I have people saying it's seizures, I have some people saying it's anxiety, I have some people saying it's fucking tremors. Like I just remember hearing doctors talking and my mom talking, and like I couldn't say anything. I couldn't like stand up for like myself. I couldn't explain what I have been going through, because like I was just very confused and out of it. I was out of it. I couldn't talk. So it was frustrating. And but like they laid me down in a bed. They put like the IV on my arm, and they started like drawing blood, and they took out like 4 tubes of blood. They did a urine test to just see if I'm pregnant or not. I'm not pregnant. But yeah, like they did that. They did EKG, they did x-rays, they did what else they did too? EKG, x-ray, and they did blood work. I think there was something else that they did. They did a CAT scan. They did a CAT scan. And everything came back fine. The only thing was that my heartbeat was very fast. It was like at 100 and 40 something beats a minute. And yeah, so like they just had me there till like my heart kind of like chilled the fuck out. And so yeah, like the whole time I was there, I was just like very like out of it. And but like they did all that. I think they even tested me for like the fucking coronavirus. All I remember was like they had a fucking cotton swab the size of my fucking hand, and they shoved it all in my nose. But like I was out of it, so I was just like whatever, like and then like around 2 in the morning, that's when like the shakes started like simmering down. And I still was out of it. I was very tired and just like I don't know, I was just still out of it. So I was just like laying there. And yeah, they released me like around 6 in the morning, and then I went home. I went home and knocked the fuck out. And yeah, I didn't have like anything really after. I haven't had anything after that. After that night, I felt very, very, very tired, like more tired than I felt all the other times. And yeah, I didn't go to work the next day. And even when I went to work the day after that, like I was still tired and still confused and still like just very out of it. and yeah, I ended up calling my doctor that day when I was at work, I remember. And I was just telling his assistant like what was going on, like what happened after I saw him. And he's like, you know what, he ended up calling me back actually after I spoke to his assistant, and he was like, you know what, I'm gonna end up putting you on medication. I thought I could hold off on it, but you're just getting them more frequently and worse. So he put me on medication. Yesterday was the first day I took it or whatever. And yeah, like that happened. After that, like, you know, I've been fine. I'm okay. I'm just trying to hold on until Thursday the 12th, which is my MRI and my EEG testing or whatever. So hopefully with that they find out what is wrong with me. And then I have a follow-up with my neurologist to like let me know, you know, about like the test results and stuff. But so that's what's been going on with me for the past month and a half. And I just kept delaying the video because after these attacks would like happen, I would just feel very out of it and like tired. So I just didn't have the energy to make the video. But yeah, today I feel fine, so I decided to make the video. It is a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Yeah, beautiful Saturday afternoon. And and yeah, like I said, I'm just trying to hold on until then. I do, however, if any of you guys are going through the same things as I am, I would want you guys to reach out to me just so I don't feel alone. It's just been like very hard, like going through all this shit. Like when I think about it too much, like I get really sad just because like a bunch of thoughts like flood my mind, you know. Like I don't want to be like this for the rest of my life. I don't want to have to take medication for the rest of my life. I want to smoke weed. I can't even smoke weed. I can't even eat weed. I can't, nothing like that. And yeah, so it just sucks, and I just feel very sad when I think about it. So I just try to be positive, and I always try to have distraction all the time. And I try not to be alone. either. I never want to be alone now. And yeah, that's basically it. My chest right now feels okay. I found like a position to like lay in when I'm sleeping, so that it doesn't feel tight. My chest, like, after like it started like feeling tight, maybe like a week after, I started getting like pains in my chest. So for that, for my chest tightness, I'm still clueless on that. So I think I might have to see another doctor for that, because even though they ran all those tests for like my heart, like the EKG and all that stuff, like it doesn't make sense why I'm getting this like chest tightness or like pains in my chest. So I have to, you know, follow up with that soon, because that's like pretty serious. And yeah, so I'm sorry if like I'm not consistent, and now more than ever, I mean, now you guys know what I've been going through. And like I said, if you guys know of someone, or if you guys are going through the same shit, you know, don't be scared to hit me up, and like we could talk about our shit. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap up this video. This is a long ass fucking video. But yeah, until next time, my honeys, Jesus. So throughout this whole video, I just been burping and like coughing and shit, but I just like obviously cut those parts out. But yeah, until next time, you guys, I don't know when exactly, but we'll see each other real soon. Don't think I'm gonna stop posting, because I'm always going to post something. Even if it's like a whole month later, I'm still always going to post something. So just stay tuned, especially with my Snapchat. And yeah, until next time.